brothers and sisters. with you. No matter how many people there are in this world, each of us is special to you. Heavenly Parent, no matter what difficulties we may go through, no matter what tribulations, each one is special, and each one has a special relationship with you. Heavenly Parent, that relationship is one of true love, and we want to celebrate that truth today, that the center of this world is true love. Heavenly Parent, we want to celebrate the original purpose of creation. You put us here, each one of us, to be together with you. We know, Heavenly Parent, that because of the fall, because of the original fall of mankind, that we didn't enjoy that relationship and haven't enjoyed that relationship throughout human history, but restoration is taking place. And this world can look forward to a time when it will be once again under your direct dominion. Heavenly Parent, we want to show you by attending here today that we really love you, we really care for you, we really understand your suffering and want to bring an end to that. Heavenly Parent, we understand that there are many places in the world where suffering is taking place at this time. There are wars and conflicts. There are disasters taking place. During this summer, we've seen floods and we've seen earthquakes. A recent earthquake taking place this very weekend in Morocco, and fires. And Heavenly Parent, we know that many people have suffered through that. We pray for them, Heavenly Parent. We pray that they can be comforted at this time. Heavenly Parent, now we want to give this service now then up to you. And I report these things in my name, David Coombs of the Coombs Blessed Central Family, Adza. So, do you want to sing some songs? I think so. I think we need to sing some. Even in this heat, we can really give a lot of strength and a lot of power. So let's welcome up today's worship leader and the band. And yes, please put your hands together. Please join them. And let's stand, please.
Morning, everyone. Morning. So going to start with a favourite of mine, a favourite of the pastor's, the pastor, Mrs. Nitya Mond. I have been wondering always if something I just couldn't find. Seems like I've been all the lands that I own. you're welcome. It is, you know, like, that was a good start. You did well. Okay, the next song is an old favorite, Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. I get there, what do I see? Coming for to carry me home. A band of angels on the mountain, for to carry me home. Swing low, swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for carry me home. If you get there before I do, before I do, coming for carry me home. Just let coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. I get there coming for to carry me home. I'll dig a hole and coming for to carry. Should we clap them hands? Let's hear a show of hands. Let's hear those hands, please. I can hear you. That's right. Swing low, swing low. I'm sometimes up. Sometimes coming for to carry me home. But still my soul will never be found. Coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for
seated. I don't know whether there's anybody of you watching the rugby last night, but that was the song, of course, of the English supporters. So it gets sung very often at the rugby matches, and they did very.
Does that mean we all support England now?
Well, actually, I did think as I was standing there, I thought, this is an English song. What about me? Well, I'm Welsh, you know. Maybe we should all sing My Hen Wlad Van Hadair after this. So, in this early autumn heat wave, I can offer you literally a warm welcome to this morning's service. But I also think I can offer you a big thank you for making the journey here to the Peace Embassy, and for all of those who are joining us on Zoom, sitting in front of your screen. Because I think it may have been more pleasant to relax in the shade, perhaps with a cool drink, rather than come here. But you didn't want to do that, did you? You wanted to meet with God, our Heavenly Parent, and to find out what God wanted to say to you today. The message today will be given by Pastor Adza, and the title of his message and sermon is Resurrection. Now, in announcing this title to the Sunday service WhatsApp group yesterday, the pastor commented, now I think it was a joke, "I know it's not Easter." But of course, resurrection is something which concerns each of us every day. Our Heavenly Parent is recreating, restoring our world, but He can't accomplish this without us accomplishing our 5% portion of responsibility. I hope I'm not stealing the thunder of the sermon. So I think that each one of us, each day, has to look, is given the opportunity to look and see what I need to change so that I can become a person of true love, a person through whom God can work and in whom God can dwell. And responsibility sounds a bit heavy, isn't it? But responsibility is not a burden, it is our joy. So whenever we hear the words responsibility, we need to think about this is something which has been given to me as a blessing from God. And so I'm sure our pastor will speak more, and maybe on an entirely different theme entirely, but let's look forward to his sermon. So let's then move on to today's announcements. So as you may know, Livingstone House is now, there has been given the green light to start a young adult spiritual community there. And that's in its initial stages, but it looks promising as a haven for young members to study, form lifelong bonds, and foster a culture of creativity and our true parents. So if you're at all interested or would like to know more about that or participate in that, then you'll see there that there is a link on the Family Fed website for that. And there we have a study opportunity. This just comes through the it's the Hyojong Institute, is it? Hyojong? From the former Unification Theological Seminary. So there's a new opportunity, there's a new website there. Again, I think you can visit it through the Family Federation website. And there's also a Vimeo that you can watch as well, a video of that you can watch. So it's an opportunity for anybody who wants to continue with further studies about principle and other matters. School for Peace and Public Leadership. Well, I think we've had that one up a few weeks, but it's... Oh, right, okay, all right. Well, there you are. So goodbye, Ad. Okay. Right. Okay, the annual Women's Leadership Conference for the Women's Federation is taking place in Larnaca in Cyprus between November the 3rd and November the 5th. And there is the registration for that is from September the 30th. If you're, of course, interested in attending there, then perhaps you could see Dolores or my wife as well also has information about that. Any more?
Hello, brothers and sisters of Europe and the Middle East. My name is Maka Bukhbaya.
And my name is Alexander Strizhenkov.
We are national leaders of Georgia.
To begin our weekly news, we would like to invite Bogdan Pamer, the Europe and Middle East Vice President.
Well, I'm sure it will come very, very shortly indeed. I always enjoy these EUME updates, very much so. It's the opportunity to see people from different parts of Europe and the Middle East who we wouldn't normally see. That's very interesting to see them and to hear them speak. And not only that, of course, we get the information about the events which are taking place around Europe and the Middle East. And it's, I find it very inspiring. I find it even more inspiring if we could get it up on the screen. Shall we? Shall we move on and then come back to it, Adza? Yeah. Okay. We'll do that. We'll come back to it. Okay. And now we're going to go on to the next page. Right. More songs. Yes.
Hello everyone and welcome to the latest edition of HT Global News. Events marking the 11th anniversary of the Holy Ascension of True Father have successfully concluded around
Make me a channel of your There is sweetness that we bring your love. There is a dream of sing one more song. Which is Unified Soldiers. Are you feeling like unified soldiers this morning, everyone? Oh, it's jolly good. 2, 3, 4. In the book that's on the screen, but anyway. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. So today's service, it marks the end of the 40-day period of devotion and witnessing that we've presently been engaged in. And I'd like to ask Chizuko Barrett if she'd like to come up and give a witnessing testimony. Chizuko.
Morning. Right, whoops. was asked to give a short testimony. There were so many different providence and projects set up in the past. Like a few years ago, there was activity with Universal Peace Academy cadet came to this country from young people from Korea, and we went out Croydon shopping mall, did witnessing, and some other one was door-to-door activity nearby Peace Embassy with True Fathers autobiographic book. And more recently was revisiting those people who received the books to give them holy wine, holy juice, and blessing prayer. So that was our activity. And some people like Mrs. Jane Thompson or Bruno Claude like to go outreach ministers. In the summer, like go on media, maybe, internet. But personally, I like to do the witnessing activity connected to the person. So I often work with Carol Chen, this time as well. We talked about how we are going to do it, and we agreed that door-to-door or street witnessing near this building. In that case, it will be easier to bring people for the lecture or watching videotapes. So we did that. We opened Peace Embassy to the guest on every Thursday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And I think that is a very people easy to come here, check us even later. And my husband and I just set up a technical side, video lecture, and hosted, keep conversation with guests and make sure that they understood. And even if they wanted, give the link to a video series. And I checked my notes. We meant to be 40 contacts in 40 days, but I did 21, unfortunately. And out of this 21, 5 people, new guests came, watched at least one video of Taylor Hendricks. And out of this 1 out of 5 come every week, every Thursday, watching videotape. Just she finished number 23, I think. I hope she was going to come for Sunday today, Sunday service, but I don't see her. Anyway, so we are hoping to bring her for 2-day seminar in the future. The current Nigel and I were the regular activists, but a few more members attended, and some more new guests. I remember in the past, always someone said that if we pray deeply, then people will be waiting outside to come to God. But I was never sure about that. I never had experience with it. But this time, because we have this Chonshin-won prayer room here set up, and we pray before go out. And amazing that we went out in 5 minutes, brought a new guest here twice, I think. So I think we're very fortunate to have a Chonshin-won set up here because it's connected to Chonshin-won in Korea, so that True Father is there, or the good spirit there, listening to what we say. I'm sure this time, I feel spirit world is listening to me, and so spirit world is working with me. Since, yeah, that's all I have to say. 5 minutes, is that? Oh, last guest. Last guest was, it's not already 40 days condition finished, but anyway, we thought, well, continuously do this same time, same place is a good idea, so that maybe people with leaflet just come visit us, check it out. And we are continuing doing it, just about going out by 11 o'clock. That was very hot day, like 32 centigrade. Well, we were a bit reluctant to go out, but anyway, the caller said, "Oh, hello." The lady came in. Oh, I thought Godet, the new hairdo or something, red hair. And I got there, but it wasn't a new guest, just walk into us. She had workers' union or something leaflet. They had some meeting here in the evening or something. So she had a leaflet and just walked in. And she watched the 2 videos, yeah. That's what happened. That was, it's not a really amazing result, but we have to accumulate. That's what I've read. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chisiko. Yes. No. I'm sure that many of you also will have seen the reports that we've been receiving from Korea on the recent youth pilgrimage to Korea, and it looks very inspiring. But today we have the opportunity to hear directly from one of the participants on the pilgrimage. So I'd like to welcome up Mr. David Hewish.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So, yeah, I was very fortunate to be able to go to Korea for the 21-day youth H-Day pilgrimage. It was, yeah, it's a program that was made for people aged 16 to 39 in Europe. And yeah, it was a truly amazing experience being there, truly. It was, yeah, I mean, there's so much to talk about. I'm going to try and fit as much as I can in less than 10 minutes, but it's, yeah. So it was run by the vice presidents of the European and Middle East region. So they were able to bring together loads of young people from across the continent, even some people who had literally heard of our movement a week before. And they were able to come as first gens and be able to experience our movement in a very real way for the first time, being in Korea, you know. And yeah, it was, for me personally, when I heard about this program, I thought, it looks good, but it's quite an investment. You know, going to Korea is, it's quite pricey, it's quite, you know, it's a long distance. But when I prayed about it, you know, God was kind of answering me and telling me that it's something special going on there, or like there's something, you should try and just give it a go. So when I went, I was very much kind of thinking, how can I connect to God as much as I can whilst I'm here? How can I make the best, you know, the best experience out of this? And honestly, my life of faith has always been, you know, I've been trying to grow, but I don't think I've grown more in a space of time than I did when I was in Korea. Because when you're surrounded by, you know, when you're in Cheonggyeong, you really feel God's presence everywhere. And when you're praying in the Cheongshimwon, when you're going to the Tree of Blessing, when you're doing all these amazing things, like, you just feel God's presence very, very strongly. And I kind of tried to just communicate with God as much as I could whilst I was there. And I would always set myself like a goal for the day, something I want to focus on. And God would always help me to accomplish the goal, but not always in ways that I'd expect. And so sometimes God would take me down a path which was much more challenging or much more unexpected than what I would imagine. But God would always help me to accomplish my goals. And I was like, wow, this is quite cool. You know, like God is really working God is working tirelessly to support the young people and to, you know, raise them up. I mean, Chumother really kind of put a lot of investment into this program as well, because she met with us. She met with all 130 of us in, we met towards the end of the workshop, and she spoke to us for over an hour, which is surprising because Chumother doesn't normally speak to people for more than 10, 15 minutes. Normally her speeches are short and powerful, but she really spoke to us for a whole hour. She went through like the history of how she's the only begotten daughter, kind of explaining to us what had to take place in order for her to come to earth as the only begotten daughter. But then she really gave us a strong message at the end, which was she looked at us directly and said, you know, you guys, you are the future of Chonoguk. We were all like, wow, that's not a small thing to ask, to be the future of the Chonoguk. You know, she wants us to be leaders as well. And of course, having your life of faith can be great, but to be a leader is taking it to a whole new level. And so hearing that for me personally, I was like, wow, Chumother wants me to be a leader? Whew. Just take a deep breath, because that's going to be tough. But I think all of us on this workshop, we really got to connect to True Parents' hearts in a very, very deep way. And so when Chumother told us that, it was like, yeah, we want to help Chumother. We want to really become leaders, because that's what she needs. She sees Europe and the Middle East, and she sees the potential for something good, but she really wants us to do better, I think, in this region. And so she's really kind of asked us young people to really step up and take responsibility. You know, your sermon about resurrection today, and you know, responsibility is a big part of that. We, as young people, sometimes responsibility can be like, yeah, we just want to shove that away, you know, it's a bit scary. But responsibility is something that, yeah, Chumother wants us to really take on. And so, I mean, the time over, 21 days, there was a long period, so we got to really fit a lot of stuff into our program, doing Chanyang twice a day, attending the vigil prayers. I know my dad was talking about vigil prayers, I think, last Sunday. But for me personally, I think my experience is kind of similar to him. Like, it's something which I wasn't used to. You know, I think I'm a much more quiet prayer. I like going somewhere in nature, in a forest, in the trees, and just meditating. But yeah, in vigil prayers, it's loud, it's shouting, it's really kind of screaming out to God, trying to connect in that way. And that can be a little bit uncomfortable at first, because there's quite a cultural difference, you know, we're not used to that here, especially in the UK. But there's something really admirable about the way that the Koreans, they handle their prayer life, right? Because they don't mind what other people think of them. It's just them and God in the moment. You know, when they're screaming and they're yelling out and they're pouring their heart and soul out and they're wailing and crying, they're not thinking, oh, the person next to me is going to see this. They're just thinking, it's me and God. It's like everything else doesn't matter in the moment. It just becomes the two of them in this very intimate, very strong connection through prayer. So for me, it was definitely challenging to do that, but I must say there were definitely days where I felt, yes, I was really connecting, and I was pouring my heart and soul out into the vigil prayer, and the results were, I really felt God in those moments. Of course, there were days where I was too tired to really invest, or I found it difficult, but it was kind of a up and down slope, you know, with better days and, you know, worse days. But I think the vigil prayer is definitely an experience that's worth trying at least once. You know, all of us young people, we were given, all the participants, we were given some homework of things to do after the workshop. One of them was giving a testimony, so I can tick that off. But the other one was to like attend a vigil prayer as well from your home, and other things like that. You know, I think vigil prayer is not for everyone, but it's definitely an experience which is worth trying out. Because, yeah, there's different ways to communicate to God and to pray to God, which is quite nice. Obviously, one of the highlights of the workshop was this pilgrimage, right? We were asked to go on a 4-day pilgrimage. I think it was 5 days, traveling around South Korea and seeing all the key places where True Father and True Mother would have really had like special moments during their journey, during their course, you know. So seeing, for instance, the first church that True Father had, you know, the cardboard church in Busan, you know, going to the Busan community and seeing the community they have there now in this lovely building. It's a lovely place. and seeing how like that progressed from literally worshipping God in a box to now being in this really nice, building. Just seeing how two parents worked over the years, it's really inspirational, because for me personally, I could never have done what your father and your mother did. They've taken responsibility on a whole nother level. And so that's really profound. Yeah, we went to the Rock of Tears. That was quite nice as well. We went to the burial grounds where all the true children are kept, those who have passed away. So there's quite a few emotional moments as well. I can guarantee you that most participants would cry at least once a day. It's good to cry sometimes, it's quite helpful actually, to get those emotions out. But everyone was really touched, everyone was really moved, We were really feeling God's presence during the entire time. And then we finished the workshop off with meeting your mother and then attending the special Great Works, which if you've been following the media, then you would have seen us performing. We performed Hyojenim's song, I Will Always Treasure Your Love, which, performing that song for me was like, obviously I don't know Hyojenim so well. I think he passed away a bit, like when I was far too young. So to really understand Hyojenim's heart of offering to true parents and his devoted heart, and being able to sing our song, also to Chumother as well. We were in the same room as Chumother, and we got to perform this song, not only to Chumother, but to Hyojenim's own children. And that was amazing because obviously they would have really felt his heart in the moment, but as offering the song, I think we were able to tap into Hyojenim's heart as well. Because we all know that Hyojenim is still working very hard in the spirit world. His presence is very much there in the Chonshim one. When you're in the prayer hall, you can really feel Hyojenim's presence as well. He's one of the pictures, that is at the front. You can really feel that he's working very, very hard. I think in total, like, the people who came to the workshop, many of them felt called to be there. Like, they weren't even maybe considering going, but then they just felt the strong urge to go. And I think it's because everyone who was there, I really saw, had the potential to become future leaders. And I hope that's the case. I hope that many of these young people can really, be the next inspirational generation. I hope we can learn a lot from the first generation, and I hope we can really take on board the amazing work that you've done so far. And hopefully we can elevate that to the next level so that our next generations can be so much more clear. We need to take the responsibility. But there are definitely people who I met on the workshop who I think they have it. They have that special, spice, that magic in them, that resolve. So, I think all in all, the workshop was an amazing experience. If anyone's not been to Korea yet, make sure you go to Korea because it's amazing. And it was a wonderful experience. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone and welcome to the latest edition of HT Global News. Events marking the 11th anniversary of the Holy Ascension of True Father have successfully concluded around the world. In Korea, Chumother hosted a special gathering at Cheonjeongung. She invited young people from Europe and Middle East who recently finished a 21-day seminar and a spiritual pilgrimage.
Good morning. Happy Easter. No, it's not Easter. Yes, we would have liked to have shown those videos. Have my tech people got the sound up? No? We're not sure, yeah? Okay. You want to try? Give it a go. Please catch it. Are you? Okay. Yeah, if we get it up, we'll let you see. Can I have my screen up? Can we change the screen to the projector? Yeah. So welcome. Thank you so much, David, for your testimony, and Chizuko for your witnessing testimony as well. Of course, this is the end of a 40-day period, but you know it hasn't ended, right? We're starting another one till the end of the year, and then maybe next year as well. So you're not off the hook yet. Yay. Is this my one or your one? Anyway, okay. So, resurrection. This is straight from the divine principle. Resurrection means to come back to life. So, I've been thinking about this because, as you know, last week we had a song for our sister Helga. And also at the prayer vigil on Friday, somebody was given a testimony about rebirth in the Chongshim being the womb of True Mother to give rebirth. So I was thinking about resurrection, just popped into my head. Let's talk about resurrection. And no better place to talk about it than directly from the divine principle, because we are very clear in the principle what is resurrection, and it applies to all of us every day, yeah, as David said. So resurrection means to come back to life, which implies that we have been dead. So, yeah, sometimes we don't think that we have been dead, but I feel on a daily basis, you know, like really I'm down in a rut and I need to do something. I need to change some energy, right? So I'm sure some of you feel like that as well, yeah, so we have been dead. So to fathom the meaning of resurrection, we must clarify the biblical concepts of life and death. What does life mean? What is death? Biblical concepts of life and death. In Luke 9:60, Jesus said to her, "Let the dead bury their own dead, but you go and preach the kingdom of God." So what is Jesus referring to here when he says, "Let the dead bury their dead"? We know the people going to bury a dead person, they're actually alive and moving physically, right? So obviously that's not a death. That is a different kind of death than what we think about, yeah? But the person who's been buried is physically dead. So there's two types of death Jesus is referring to. Also in Revelation 3:1, the angel says, "I know your works, that you have a name, that you are alive, but you are dead." So people who are going about energetically doing stuff, they seem to be alive, but actually they are dead. How can you tell when somebody is alive and dead? Is it easy to tell? It's not easy because everybody here is moving around and nobody really knows what the situation of anybody is, right? It's very hard to say. Also in John 11, 25 and 26, Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me, though he may die, he shall live. And whoever lives and believes in me shall never die. Do you believe this? So Jesus is saying, if you believe in him, you will never die, right? So what kind of life and death are we talking about? Also in Luke 17:33, whoever seeks to save his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life will preserve it. So sometimes we are looking for our own ambition, our own hopes, things that we want to accomplish, and we ignore what is God's will for us, you know. These are the different kinds of life and death that is being referred to in the Bible is physical life and spiritual life, and physical death and spiritual death. So physical life is what we all are, obviously, and physical death is when somebody passes into the spirit world. Physical body gives up the ghost, right? And spiritual life is when you're close to God. You are feeling God in your life. You're talking to God, living with God, feeling God's inspiration as your own inspiration. And you feel alive, right? I don't feel so alive right now. But I'm hoping that by the end, I'm going to resurrect, you know. So because there's many things going on in the back of my mind, which is kind of distracting me from what I should be doing for God, So in the last 40 days, brothers and sisters have been diligently going out, meeting people, also preparing, as Chizuko mentioned, in the Chongshim 1, to go out there to meet God's children. And when you do this, and in 5 minutes somebody's at the door, how do you feel? You feel like, wow, God is here with me. You know, when David is mentioning about praying in Chongshim 1, people feel close to God. You feel every day that God is right with you. You feel alive, right? You really feel alive. But if you let it slide, that you don't pay attention to your relationship with God, then you can feel down. And even the smallest things can become a challenge for you. So, this is the different types of life and death in the Bible. So, when we think about the fall, what is the death caused by the fall? This is straight from the divine principle, right? So you know the death from the fall is not a physical death, because Adam and Eve obviously went on to have a family and create nations. So they, even though God said on the day you fall, you will die, but they went on physiologically to do things. So spiritually, they were kicked out by God. They kicked themselves out of the presence of God, right? That's the correct way to look at it. They were not able to breathe the love of God anymore, to be in the presence of God's love. So they left the Garden of Eden. They were kicked out by their actions. So two different concepts, biblical concepts of death. Which of the two is caused by the fall? Is the result? Which of the two is caused by the fall? Obviously, it's not the physical death. In the principle, it says, in the exposition, page 135, section 1:2, God created human beings to grow old and return to dust. Physical death was allotted to human beings regardless of whether or not they fell. My screen is very small. I only have a quarter of my screen, so I'm squinting. What did I do? Okay. Nothing material can live forever. Things can transform into energy, but everything physical will decompose, will change its form. Nothing, even the really worst plastics over time will be degraded. So nothing material can live forever. Human beings are no exception. Our bodies cannot live eternally. If human beings were meant to live on earth forever in the flesh, then why did God create the spirit world as our final destination? Okay, many assumptions there that you agree that there is a spirit world and God created a spirit world for eternal life. Yeah, this is what people of faith believe. But if that is true, and it is, then why would that be so? Why would God create a spirit world as our eternal destination when, our physical bodies don't live eternally? So it is not created after the fact. It is, as it should be, spirit world is our eternal home, yeah, not our physical life on this earth. So the relationship between earthly existence and the life of a spirit is akin to the relationship of caterpillar and butterfly. Moreover, if there had been no fall, earthly people would be able to relate with spirits just as naturally as they relate among themselves. So I was thinking about this. I was thinking about the caterpillar, Do they kind of go and revisit, the butterfly? Does it go and revisit the caterpillars on the leaf or on the branches? Hey, there you are, you're going to become one of me soon. I don't know. I don't know if they can, of course, they probably don't have the consciousness of, where they came from. Yeah, they just come out and do their thing. But if we could resonate with the spirit world and relate with them, we would naturally know, right? But because of the fall, we can't do that anymore. And therefore, it's difficult for us to prove that there is a spirit because we are fallen people in a kind of catch-22 vicious cycle, So they would know that death is not the final departure from their loved ones on earth. If people knew what a beautiful and happy world they will enter after they attain perfection on earth and die a natural death, they would look forward eagerly to the day they enter that world. The 5 a.m. Hunduke team on Saturday, I think they were reading this part of the principle, yeah. I wasn't there, I heard from a little bird. And, and Nitya was saying to me that she doesn't fear death anymore. I mean, she probably never feared death. She came to England, all the way from Thailand. So, because if you knew that the spirit world is such a wonderful, beautiful place, you would want to go. No, please don't go. Don't go yet. But you would want to go eagerly if you knew what a beautiful place it was. But of course, the caveat is that, attain perfection on earth, right? And then go. Yeah, so let's work towards that perfection. Do the things we have to do while the sun is still shining. Did you notice that the trees are turning color to autumn leaves? It's a beautiful time, but it's kind of scary that we're going to lose the heat soon. We are finding ourselves struggling in the heat, but come next week or the week after, you'll be thinking, where did that heat go? So please enjoy it, right? Enjoy it while it's here. Yeah, so we would look forward to the spirit world, beautiful spirit world, where we can live eternally in freedom if we could resonate with the spirit world, but we don't, yeah. And of course, we have things to do on earth. So how does God carry out the work of resurrection? This is really what I want to talk about. How does God carry out this work of resurrection? Because we want to resonate with how God is working, right? So that we can know where we're going. And David mentioned a bit about this, David. So, resurrection, the process through which a fallen person is restored to the original state as intended by God. Now, nobody's quite sure which David I'm referring to, right? So David Coombs or David Hewish? So it's a process through which a fallen person is restored to the original state, pre-fallen state in the Garden of Eden, intended by God. Resurrection, therefore, is restoration, God restoring us to the original state, which is creation. So it's recreation as well. Okay? The 3 R's. So resurrection, restoration, recreation. Thus, the providence of resurrection is carried out in accordance with the principle of creation in the following manner. 4 things, yeah? So the first is, who can tell me the first? According to the merit of the age, yeah? So David Hewish mentioned that, We want to build on what the first generation have done, yeah? So we also stand on the shoulders of all the saints and sages of history who have done their bit, done their best, left a foundation for us to work on. So this is what we don't have to start from scratch. We have to just inherit from the previous generation. So we stand on the merit of the age. Secondly, responsibility. David mentioned again. So responsibility for the Word. The Word is what Adam and Eve lost in the Garden of Eden. It is God's responsibility to give us that Word, our responsibility to keep it and live by it. We didn't. We lost the Word. And this is what we need to do again, be responsible to live by the Word. Thirdly, resurrection happens on earth. We need the physical body to resurrect. All the saints and sages that have gone, everybody that's gone before, they need us on earth to resurrect. That is why we do Chombo, right? We work with our ancestors to enable them to inherit the merit of the age we are living in, which, apart from the fact that so much has been done in the past, is also the time that true parents are on the earth. So there's no time like it, and there will be no time like it in the future. This is the time, yeah, the most precious time in history. It has to be accomplished on earth. Fourthly, it follows 3 ordered stages or ages. Yeah. So these ages are Adam to Abraham was is a foundation stage to recover what was lost. So it's the foundation for restoration. So this 2,000 biblical years from Adam to Abraham was just preparing to start, yeah? Not preparing to start, but preparing the foundation. So 2,000 years from Abraham, biblical years, Abraham to Jesus, was the formation stage resurrection. So in the formation stage resurrection, the merit of the age is a formation stage resurrection. If you unite with the Old Testament, follow the word of the Old Testament, you're justified by your works, and you can resurrect to a form spirit level, and you graduate into the spirit world in the form spirit level, right? And then there's Jesus to the second coming, that 2,000-year period again, which is the growth stage resurrection. So the merit of the age is growth stage resurrection. You can resurrect to the growth stage. So all the saints and sages of the Old Testament age could come out of the graves spiritually at the time of Jesus' resurrection to also resurrect, work with Jesus, work with the disciples to resurrect to the growth level stage of resurrection. And the word that God gave at this time, and it's our responsibility to follow, was the New Testament gospel. And then we are justified by our faith during that time. And we become life spirits and live in the spirit world in a place called paradise. So that's another discussion, paradise and heaven. So from the time of the second advent, now, true parents' time, is a completed Testament age resurrection. That's what is available if only we, engage with this period. So the merit of the age is completion stage resurrection. The whole thing, spiritual and physical salvation. The word that we receive, and it will be good if we follow, really good, is the completed Testament word, the divine principle, true parents' speeches, what true parents are saying now, what are they saying now. These are part of the completed Testament word. And it's our responsibility to connect with that. And then if we do, we are justified by our attendance. So, David, you were right. It's not just a tick that David did, but he attended. He invested himself. So, yes, another clap for David. You wish. So, it's attendance in this age. You have to attend our true parents, connect to them. And, when if you haven't seen the video, please watch it. You see 120 or so young people performing to True Mother. Of the billions on earth, now with true mother on this earth. Those were the 120 that had that privilege to perform for true mother. This is priceless. Hard to do, I know. Yeah, so thank you, Dr. Balcom and the vice presidents for making that happen, because it's not an easy thing, but also the offering that they could make, and to Hyojinim's family, that's such a precious connection that you can make there. So attending in this time is not just for a day, but is continuously attending our true parents, taking responsibility for God's word, to pass it on, to live by it. Then we can become divine spirits. And then when naturally we shed this physical body after we grow old and fulfill everything, we go into the spirit world and live in the kingdom of heaven, in heaven. Yeah. So that is our eternal and original destination. So, of course, every day we go through the motion of let's do it and motivate yourself, resurrect at that level. But also over our lifetime, we are growing gradually. And sometimes it looks like we're going on troughs and peaks, and it's difficult. There are challenges. But that's why we have each other, right? We can support each other in those trying times, difficult times when we are struggling with our faith and our lives, yeah? So that we can accomplish what we can only accomplish on earth. So this is how precious this moment is for us, yeah? So let us embrace it, and 4 things we must use, yeah, we must follow to accomplish resurrection in our life. Yeah. Let's be artistic, but let's be scientific about it as well. What are we doing? What age are we in? How can we actually connect with this age? We can do many great things. Yeah, we can do. I could have become a president of a country, right? I could have a few battalions. I could have become. But what is that? You know, does that accomplish anything for God? Really, on its own? No. It's actually connecting with true parents. It's a lot of people are busy doing many incredible things, shooting for the stars, but actually the only thing we should be focused on, the main thing we should be focused on, is attending true parents. And that way we are justified by our attendance in this age. And then we can have that resurrection that is only available in that way. There's no other way. You cannot buy it. You cannot grab it by force. You can only do it by attendance, true love. And let's support each other as we do that. Yeah. So thank you. That's my short message for today. Thank you, and God bless you. Please join me in a prayer. Our beloved Heavenly Parents, thank you so much that we are living in this precious time in history with our true parents on this earth. Heavenly, our true Father in the spirit world and true Mother on earth, guiding us every day. And we know we are standing on an incredible foundation of history that your saints and sages have worked throughout history to make this foundation for true parents to be victorious. And us, by uniting with them, working with them, we can be victorious. We can accomplish what you have dreamed for us. That is to become your sons and your daughters. And everything else, as Jesus said, will be added onto that. So let us look for your love, look for your guidance, the guidance of our true mother. Let's hang on every word and every heartbeat of our true mother, that we can really feel her heart, and by that accomplish the words that she speaks, the words that true parents have spoken. Heavenly Parents, there's nowhere else we need to look for inspiration and guidance or validation except through our true parents and you. So Heavenly Parent, please be with our community, all those who are ailing, all those who are suffering. We offer them in your hands. We know you have a plan, and we want to help you accomplish that plan so that your outcome, the outcome that you have predetermined for each one of us, can be fulfilled. But it's only by us uniting with you and with our true parents that that can come about. Heavenly Parent, please guide us every moment, every day, to see your viewpoint and live with you every moment. I want to report this in my name, Adza and Nitia Mold of the Central Blessed Family, Arju. Thank you. So a moment of reflection.
Thank you so much, Pastor, for that sermon. I really love sermons on the divine principle. Do you like that? Really on the divine principle, using the divine principle. Really love sermons like that. So thank you very much, Pastor. Let's put our hands together and give him a warm applause. Thank you. So let's once again invite up the band for our last song. This is our offering song. So let's stand, please.
join me in prayer? Good afternoon, Heavenly Father. Good afternoon to you, parents. I'd like to thank you for this day that we could come here to worship you. I'd like to thank you for all our church brothers and sisters worldwide who are offering this day to you and all other religious people. I'd like to thank you for the sermon of our Pastor Adza, for resurrection, that we can connect to you, Heavenly Father. I wish to report these things in my name. Terence of the Tonto family, blessings to family, Adza.
Thank you. Please be seated. So this is the time in our service where we welcome anybody here who may be here for the first time today or maybe coming back after a time away. Is there anybody here who is here for the first time today? Anybody? No? Anybody who's been away and coming back? You're all regular attendees. That's great. That's great. That's good. Let me say a warm welcome to Mike and Fumiko here, who are here for, thank you very much, the regional directors. And welcome from the West Country. Hands together, that's right. You're very welcome here indeed. Okay, yes? Yes. Yes, indeed, I can. We'd like to say something to come up with.
Well, good afternoon. Oh, good morning, everybody. I also just got back from Korea. It was brutally tough. I have to say, I look at David, young and fresh, and I think, it was a tough schedule because, as he mentioned, we had vigil prayer every night, live in the Chungcheon One, up early in the morning for almost, many full days of spiritual education. And the highlight was indeed meeting with True Mother. And I had a profound realization myself, but I have to backtrack a little bit because we had another pilgrimage in May. Some of you went to that. And many of the external things were the same. We also visited the holy sites of Korea, and we also studied. And every day, almost, I asked True Mother, can we come and visit you? Will you be able to have some time with our European group? I didn't have any answer until the very last day. And 1 hour after our pilgrimage had left Seoul on tour, Mother said, okay, where are you? And I said, oh, no. How could it be? Oh, Mother, I'm so sorry, but we've left already, and we really can't come back. She said, all right, well, I'll buy you a lunch in Yosu. But internally, I felt I better not let that happen again. So during this pilgrimage, as we moved our way up the peninsula, I was really in agony. Are we really going to meet True Mother or not? Because actually, she had no public engagements at all during the entire time that we were there, except one, which was to greet our team. And not only that, but she had been preparing for several days. Why the difference? I think it's pretty clear. Mother is so focused on reaching out to the young people who are the same age as her grandchildren. It's hard to remember that for True Mother, second generation means 50 plus. And third generation is like 20. And fourth generation, they're already there, they're like the little kids. So for me, it was so important that Mother invited her grandsons to meet with our team. And really encourage them, get to know each other, because you are going to have to work together in the future. So I didn't feel so bad then, because I realized it wasn't that Mother doesn't like me or that, I made some mistake. I probably did. But really, her focus is on the young people. So I have a challenge for our community, therefore, because actually David was one of only a few young people from the UK. We also had a brand new member, Ruben, from Greenwich. And that was very wonderful. But by comparison, the East region had 25 people. And the Central region, I think, had 18. So I feel next time, we really want to do better. I don't know what it takes, but I think we should ask David if he wouldn't mind writing down his testimony and sharing it, because it's important to hear from your peers, right? If David and Ruben could share their experience, that's far more impressive than me sharing mine. But I do want to thank the young people who came. If you watched the video, which we couldn't see, I'd also like to recommend to you the Peace TV Global News for this week. It's very long, 23 minutes, but just the first 7 minutes contains quite a bit of True Mother's message to our team. So you can catch up and kind of get a sense of the heart that True Mother wanted to share. So even though the techniques didn't work here, let me give it to all of us as our homework. As soon as you get home, turn on Peace TV and just watch even the first 8 minutes or so, because you'll see a very delighted True Mother sharing with, our team. I was so happy about it and so grateful. Also, I don't see Matthew here, but he's teaching, and Matthew got the whole thing off to a solid start by teaching Divine Principle for the first week. And this was a very intentional move by our vice presidents, that the foundation of everything is always the Divine Principle. You have to stand on solid ground, and then the life of true parents, and then the actual experience of visiting the places where true parents lived, worked, suffered, cried, and then finally coming. So that I think, why did Mother speak so long? Because she felt, wow, this group of young people are ready to listen. If they weren't ready to listen, I don't think she would speak. But because they'd made such effort, then she felt able to share her heart and explain deeply, this is what I'm looking for. So once again, to Matthew, to David, to Ruben in absentia, and to all of you for your prayerful support, because amazing thing, all those young people, nobody got hurt, nobody got sick except me. It was God's protection from beginning to end. So thank you. If you prayed, if you donated, next time, let's send at least 12 from this community and 21 from the UK, all right? I see plenty of candidates over there. Please think, I would like to have that experience next time. Thank you.
Thank you. So shall we stand and we'll recite the benediction. Forgive, love, and unite. Gratitude brings about heavenly fortune. Forgiveness opens people's minds, and love moves people's hearts. Let us be grateful for everything. Forgive our enemies, love our neighbors as we love ourselves, and work in oneness for peace. Adieu. Thank you all very much for coming, and have a great week, and see you again next week.
Hello, everybody. Just one moment, please. Auntie Nitaya, I call her. Auntie Nitaya asked me to tell you that we have very nice food there. And the food is from Lancaster Gate, from last night. There was a young Chivas at dinner. You know the young Chivas that UPF sometimes does? They recognize them in the House of Lords. And they came together in Lancaster Gate and had a dinner together, but there was lots left over. So we have a nice dinner there, nice chicken, rice, some salad,